Mayor Bisson would not say what he was doing or where he was the night the fire destroyed Lahaina and left at least 115 dead.
Maui County's highest-ranking official said he still doesn't know who was calling the shots at the county's emergency management center.
I'm not sure who was in charge. I think Herman Andaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in contact with his team, I guess by phone. I don't know exactly how.
But wouldn't tell reporters where he was the rest of the day.
The Department of Defense spends about $1 billion annually developing directed energy weapons, such as high-energy lasers and high-powered microwaves. These weapons can disrupt or destroy their targets at the speed of light. For example, DoD has developed high-energy lasers that have successfully shot down drones.
So now, after the fire, there's 2,025 students unaccounted for. Wow. By the way, mates, this is my Aussie accent and it sucks. I used to be able to do a good Aussie accent, but not anymore. Now I sound like a dweeb. Now I sound like I'm just... I should probably shut up now. Anyway, I was going to ask you guys... Oh, no, I was going to tell you... as things are growing, and I see that they are, after 5 years, January of 2019 is when I started my YouTube channel. It's taken me a long time to finally get my sea legs, and I think that I have, folks. I love the gospel of Jesus Christ. If you are not a member of the church and you subscribe, stick around. Build on common beliefs with us. You believe in Jesus? Great. Even if you believe in Buddha, or I don't know, is that a thing? Do Buddhists actually believe in Buddha, or do they practice the teachings of Buddhism? I don't know. If you're a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Muslim, or an agnostic or an atheist, stick around, because I'll still let you know what's going on in the world. These are current events with a Latter-day Saint twist, and that's what I'm doing. If I can't heart all your comments, please know that I love you, I care about you, and I'm probably going to be hearting from now on like the first 10 comments. I don't have time to read everything. But still comment in the comment section so that you can reach others with your ideas. Yeah, everything's going to be okay. I do want to say this. For those of you who don't think that the government plans things in advance, I'm beginning to think that this has gone from being wicked to justified by saying this is classified. We don't know why this is happening, but we're just obeying orders. We have people that are doing that. Yes, men. Yes, men. In the there's my perfectionist style there. Yes, men. They're yes men in the military, and I feel bad for them. But if you don't think that that's happening, if you don't think that even our prophet gets briefed by people he knows, maybe not on specifics, I think this is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot that you and I don't know, that people at the top, people in the military, people in classified positions, covert positions, people that work for the NSA, the CIA, people in the council that are associated with the World Economic Forum, with the United Nations, the European Union, the Council on Foreign Relations. We have prominent businessmen, bankers, tech-savvy people in executive positions in life that are members of the church, that wear garments, that have temple recommends. There are things that you and I don't know. So for anyone, and I'm not saying, I never said that anything 100% for sure was happening anywhere. If you do not believe that you ain't got the skinny on everything, but that there are people that have the skinny on a lot and don't tell you, then you are highly misguided yourself. So before you call me misguided in the comments section, please understand that there are good men and women that obey orders, that are involved in top secret operations and missions.
You mentioned how residents were given $700 per household. Has anything changed since then? Have you received any more money?
Nothing from FEMA, nothing from the federal government, nothing more than $700. It's been 3 weeks.
Given the cost of living in Hawaii, specifically in the Lahaina community, is anything being done right now? Are there considerations or efforts being made to try to raise that cap, that $700 figure for those who are there?
Yeah, the $700 figure of critical needs assistance is really just that amount of funding for some of the very immediate needs that individuals have.
Okay, so that's ahead of FEMA. I understand that. Okay, but what's going to happen next? Look, so did the federal government ever come in and help completely with Katrina, with, I don't know, just all kinds of places where we have had natural disasters, like earthquakes and floods and things like that? Even if they've helped a little bit, I would rather take the money that we're helping overseas, and we need to take care of our people first, right? I mean, I think that's the main message here, is that there's some imbalance, the disparity between the money that we're giving overseas and what we could be doing to help here. I mean, the federal government, maybe they're not in, maybe it's not their duty to help completely in the long run, but in the short term of things, why do we have other countries, and we're going to talk about that later, you're going to see that it's not FEMA that's helping house people, even though they're staying in really nice resorts there and living it up. So yeah, what's going to happen in the long run?
What's your reaction to House Republicans who say that they're urging an investigation into the federal response in Maui?
Well, I welcome a federal response in Maui. I think that they should go out and talk to every elected official, from the mayors to the governors to the United States senators to the congresspersons. I welcome, and once they go out and see it, then I'm sure they'll provide the money.
Mr. President, I don't think we all need to go to Hawaii. Do we need to fly to Hawaii or Maui to see what's going on and then make an assessment? Do you need to fly to Ukraine to make an assessment? I mean, everyone's on the bandwagon, right? Everyone's staying on that bandwagon, and no one's ever been there. They need help. It's obvious. It's coming out of Lahaina. It's coming out of Maui. The people are telling us, look at the people's cell phones. Look at the video that people are capturing on their cell phones. Does that tell you enough? Look at the town hall meetings. Does that tell you enough? Pay attention to those who have been there, that know what's going on. Is that telling you enough? Look at this, folks.
Directed energy weapons like high-energy lasers could be a game changer in future wars.
Laser weapon systems are earning their way onto the battlefield.
Describing the laser as efficient and effective in defending against enemy drones or small armoured boats. The Navy's Pacific Fleet, understandably, did not specify where this laser weapon system was tested.
The Department of Defense spends about $1 billion annually developing directed energy weapons, such as high-energy lasers and high-powered microwaves. These weapons can disrupt or destroy their targets at the speed of light. For example, DoD has developed high-energy lasers that have successfully shot down drones, but speed isn't their only advantage. They're also less expensive per use than traditional weapons like guns and missiles. Despite those potential advantages, DoD has had trouble getting these technologies out of the lab and into service. The Army has developed a detailed transition plan to support moving these weapons into the next stages of development. We recommended that the Navy and the Air Force develop similar plans.
Recently, India's Air Chief Marshal highlighted the need to push the development of directed energy weapons and hypersonic weapons and integrate them into its airborne platforms to get the desired range and accuracy. What are directed energy weapons and hypersonic weapons? A directed energy weapon damages or destroys its target using focused energy by means of lasers, microwaves, or particle beams. Some of the directed energy weapons include microwave weapons, lasers weapons, drone defense systems, etc. On the other hand, a hypersonic weapon is one that can hit its target 5 to 10 times the speed of sound.
Everybody always gives me that. Oh yeah, I work for Boeing. Oh, you work with planes. And then I tell them, well, it's directed energy that I work in. Oh, what's that? Well, I work with lasers. Well, everybody's eyes always open up, slide so that you can burn a hole through it. Now let's take that piece of paper, fold it into a paper airplane. Try and keep a beam on and try and burn through it. That's what we're doing, and that's incredibly hard. How does a laser work? You have to put energy in. What's given off is light, photons coming off of actual material.
Rear Admiral Matthew Clunder told reporters that anyone who could play Xbox or PS4 games could use the USS Ponce's new energy weapon with ease. And the USS Ponce's energy weapon is just the beginning. Lockheed Martin has been working to help the Navy develop its next directed energy weapon system, the High Energy Laser with Integrated Optical Dazzler and Surveillance, or HELIOS for short. It's a 60 kilowatt laser, twice as powerful as the Law's weapon. That's not a huge leap forward in laser technology, but it's enough for Lockheed Martin to start envisioning what a true next-generation laser system might look like. From systems that integrate Helios lasers with existing radar and targeting systems to eliminate threats at sea, to developing tactical airborne laser pods that can be mounted on military jets.
3 days before he took the oath of office, Eisenhower, who was the outgoing president, gave what is probably the most important speech in American history, which was, where he warned against the military-industrial complex.
We must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite. It is the task of statesmanship to mold, to balance, and to integrate these and other forces, new and old, within the principles of our democratic system, ever aiming toward the supreme goals of our free society. We must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite. That public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite.
And then you have this with Mitch McConnell, who probably should be in a hospital. He should be convalescing somewhere like the President of the United States, not with handlers. These are obvious handlers that they're with, and that's not what they should not be propped up. They're literally being controlled like puppets. You see the cabal, the pictures, the memes of the cabal, the covert combos. Sorry, YouTube. Covert combos controlling, the puppeteer controlling with the strings. The irony, right? This is the perfect example of puppeteering and being propped as a front man. Part of me wonders if this guy wants to retire, wants to go home, but maybe he has made commitments and promises and vows that he would fulfill certain obligations. You never know, man. You never know.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
I think you're going to need more than a minute.
Senator. Benny.
Yep. Okay.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
So you've seen things like this. This is at a Maui press conference. Things got heated. So observe this fiery debate.
Let me finish, brother.
I'm just saying the timeline. We've been looking at the timeline.
What I'm trying to say is,
that's right. Different day, different shirt. So we have lots of questions that are basically unanswered. Who's got the answers? We don't know. Like the biggest question of all, where are the children? Where are these children? Where are these 2,000 children? The numbers change often, so I don't know if it's even 2,000. If we look at the Hawaii's Department of Education's data, you'll see that the August 8th pre-fire enrollment was at 3,001 students. So now, after the fire, there's 2,025 students unaccounted for. Wow. So that's a big difference, brothers and sisters. Big difference. That's something to be concerned about. I saw somebody make a comment in the comments section. Where are these parents? Why aren't these parents speaking out? These are students that are already enrolled by now. They would have already been enrolled in school as we speak. And what about the littler children? What about the toddlers, the infants? Not just school-aged children. What about the babies? Where are they? That means, brothers and sisters, that two-thirds of the West Maui public school-aged children are still missing. Still missing. And we've talked about when they will update the death toll. So nobody knows. They're saying that they don't know when we will know. It's kind of like it's been brushed under the rug. Doesn't it seem like every time you see the head of FEMA or the mayor or the governor of Maui, they kind of want to move on. Let's move on from this subject. Or there's hostility. So this is one of two things, okay? I understand. Like I said, I don't believe in all conspiracies. This could be neglect. It could very well be neglect. And my wife is saying that. But Andrea hasn't watched all the evidence. She hasn't seen all the evidence that I have. Because that's what you have to do. You have to give the benefit of the doubt, right? But then when you're looking at the bigger picture, right, weighing the pros and cons, it's like when you're in a court of law. If the evidence stacks up against somebody, circumstantial evidence, isn't that what it's called, I think? Or is that a negative term? That could be used negatively as well. But you get the idea. And then you've got special police arriving at the scene.
There seems to be a huge emphasis on ensuring that the media and anyone else can't see what's going on here in Lahaina, West Maui. There are miles and miles of this black fence going up that was not here before, that is obscuring ground zero and making sure no one can see what's going on inside of there from the road. No one can get in there. No one can take any pictures. And then I've also seen these weird foreign police cars showing up, these special police, I'm not sure what to call them. This is a Nissan, but there's quite a large presence of these standing guard around the perimeter. That I tried to get out of my car and show what was going on. I was almost immediately, after these 20 seconds, National Guard came, chased me off, yelled at me, told me to get back in my car and keep moving. So you cannot pull over. You can't even stop your car anywhere near any of this anymore.
Okay, this next one brought chills. No, not brought chills. Sent chills up my spine. Do you remember we used to be Fox News watchers? You guys remember those days? They weren't that long ago, were they? Most of you probably watched Fox News for Tucker Carlson. I know I did, and my wife did too. We are Tucker Carlson, I wouldn't say fanatics, but we agree. We're not fanatical about anything. I am not a fanatic. I am not a conspiracy theorist. But anyway, back to Fox News. I want you to tell, we were Fox News watchers at one time, right? And I will support Tucker Carlson until I will support anyone until I find out that maybe they were possibly a shill or psyops or a plant or just speak. You know, you can also see when somebody has transitioned over to another narrative or another way of their language changes, their demeanor, their behaviors. But anyway, I want you to tell me in the comments section, if you will, what you think about this next segment about Fox. Do you think Fox is right? I know one of them is Pete Hegseth. And I think he used to do the weekend morning show on Fox. I think he might be a regular throughout the week now. I'm not sure about that. But Pete Hegseth is one of the guys you see here. And Will Cain. Pete Hegseth and Will Cain. I actually think this is Fox and Friends. That's what it's called. What do you think about what they're saying on Fox and Friends? Did we used to hear this before? Has Fox always kind of had this sentiment about conspiracy theorists?
Because when you lock things down and you don't allow media, it can allow for alternative theory. It becomes a lot of speculation about what's going on.
Conspiracy is fed by censorship. That's what you need to know.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
Can you believe that? Do you believe what you just heard? Do you believe what you just see? Fox is the Murdochs. You guys, the Murdoch family owns Fox, guys. Come on. They're right under BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Okay? That's who owns Fox News. So if you're going to get your news, you might as well, if you want, watch all of the news so that you use your brain. We've heard this before, right? Use your smarts to discern the spirit of discernment, your gift of discernment. We talked about spiritual gifts today because we're studying 1 Corinthians about Paul talking about spiritual gifts in seminary today. And one of them is the gift of discernment, right? So use your gift of discernment, watch all the news networks. But if you're going to get what's really going on, you're going to have to go to some mom and pop. You know how you get mom and pop burgers? It's where you get your news now, from mom and pop sources, right? Didn't we hear language like this when they were talking about the... Actually, I almost died a year and a half ago of the big C. Are we allowed to say COVID? Even if we're just saying the word COVID? I almost died of the big C a year and a half ago. But I still Andrea and I never got the jab. Never got it. We never got the never. All right? And I said, I was on a tangent, and I still am, about following the prophet. And those of you who know Palmer, he wants to follow the prophet too. That's not what he's never said, don't follow the prophet, you guys. What he's saying is the prophet is teaching us to have personal revelation. The prophet is telling us to seek personal revelation, right? But we do say follow the prophet, because the prophet, what does he say? How do you follow me? The revelation that the prophet gave was for us to seek personal revelation on all matters like that. And yeah, so my friend Palmer, he's following the prophet. He's never said don't follow the prophet. I don't think if you were sitting in a restaurant with, or sitting in the cafeteria with the prophet, and I said, you know what, prophet, I never did get the vaccine. Do you think he would say, hand me your temple recommend? You're not following the prophet. No, he would say, oh, okay, well, and probably change the subject and talk about skiing or how good the meatloaf is right now. Anyway, so a conspiracy is something that comes out later. That's all it is. The covert combos will continue to call us conspiracy theorists. They will continue to call us conspiracy wackos, right? Even though the jab was, we found out, not quite what it added up to be.
Hundreds of Americans are still missing after the deadly Maui fires. Many of them missing children.
The Hawaii Electric Company was negligent with their downed power lines and are now involved in a cover-up. Water held back from firefighters, roads were even blocked, trapping Americans inside the inferno. And FEMA officials have been staying at five-star luxury resorts.
So, we live in a world today, we live in America, where we used to be able to question anything, and it was a logic is out the window.
Right?
Young people today, it's scary. Young people are not trained to use logic and reason. They are being trained to obey, and that it's okay if something doesn't make sense as long as it obeys a narrative or obeys a command. When you're at a restaurant, the waiter doesn't get your order right. It's okay to ask them to go change it or bring it to their attention. They will take care of it, right? But when people are dying, when people are missing, when there's been neglect, when there's been maybe intentional, ominous occurrences happening, no one wants to answer questions. No preventative measure. No, it's obvious that no preventative measures were taken. A lot of us, you and my audience and myself, we grew up in an age where it was logical to prepare. Preparedness. The most responsible people in the world were those who were prepared. The most intelligent people in the world were those who taught others and trained others to be prepared and to take precautions, right? Doing the right thing, bringing things to others' attention. If something wasn't right, we brought it up and someone said, yeah, that's logical. I see what you're saying. Let's look into that. You're not seeing that now. Take a look at the mayor here. He doesn't know where he was. He doesn't know what he was doing. He doesn't know what's going on. He has no real answers. If this was just neglect, I can understand why he would be acting like that. Kind of sketchy. I mean, when you forget to turn the pot roast down before you go to church and your wife asked you, did you turn the pot roast down? And then you remembered that she told you before you got in the van and you didn't do it, you would be acting like this mayor right here. But put all the other pieces together. Put all the other evidence together. Quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, dresses like a duck, eats Chinese food like a duck, windsurfs like a duck, whittles like a duck, yogis like a duck. It's a duck.
Mayor Bisson would not say what he was doing or where he was the night the fire destroyed Lahaina and left at least 115 dead.
Maui County's highest-ranking official said he still doesn't know who was calling the shots at the county's emergency management center.
I'm not sure who was in charge. I think Herman Andaya was still in charge. He just wasn't present. He was in contact with his team, I guess by phone. I don't know exactly how.
But wouldn't tell reporters where he was the rest of the day.
I don't have all of that for you. Yeah, I don't have all of that for you.
This is how the mayor responded when pressed about what he knew and when.
Well, I wasn't on social media, so I can't speak. First of all, I'm not going to speak to social media. I wasn't on social media. We didn't have time for that.
He also couldn't explain why the head of Hawaii's emergency management agency wasn't notified anyone had died until the following day.
I don't know who spoke to General Howe. That's my answer to your question.
We don't know how many other people maybe died waiting for a response. You don't think there's anything your agency?
I personally don't think so. That fire was so rapid, and by the time everyone had situational awareness, it was too late, unfortunately.
I don't think that everybody, if this was premeditated, let's just say, I think it's unwise for us to assume that everyone should be implicated. Does that make sense? Let's take the mayor. Doesn't he kind of look a little bit more afraid for his family, maybe for himself? We don't know how much he knew. He's following orders. Could possibly not know what happened. Maybe he's just as in shock as everyone else. So we have to be careful who we implicate in things. But we also have to be careful that we even call it what it is still. Maybe we will never know completely. But are we at the point where our prophet is telling us to gather Israel and prepare for the second coming? Is this bigger than all of us? You know how you move into a home and you'll see like the big cockroaches and you're like, those aren't a problem, right? My wife says those because she's lived with cockroaches before. The big ones, I forgot what they're called. But then you start seeing the small ones, right? And you kill them right away because you know if those start breeding, you're going to have a problem on your hands. And then if you let that problem go, the cockroaches will infiltrate your whole home. The walls, the carpet, the bedding. It will get in the record players. Well, we have records down there. It gets into appliances. The cockroaches get into appliances, everything. Could we be living in a time? What I'm saying is we could be living in a time right now, brothers and sisters, where the cockroaches are too big and we're waiting. Then you have to call a professional to come in and bomb the whole place, right? That's what the Lord's going to do, because the cockroaches will have infiltrated everything by then. And he will have to bomb the world. Cleanse the world with fire. That's like when you bomb a home for cockroaches, because little cans of spray won't do the trick anymore, will it?
I'm just saying the timeline. We've been looking at the timeline.
What I'm trying to say is that fire was so rapid, and by the time everyone had situational awareness, it was too late, unfortunately. But that's all I'm trying to say.
Meanwhile, the fire department confirmed its radios were working.
It's unclear what action, if any, was taken in those 25 minutes by whoever was in charge that day at Maui's Emergency Operations Center.
So like I said before, you see the mayor. He gets angry. He doesn't have answers. He's sketchy. But like I said, be careful who you implicate. He is a mayor, remember. But also you're like, well, to be the mayor, you got to know people. But then again, knowing people doesn't mean that you had to commit some evil acts. So we don't know what his knowledge is, but he's pretty sketchy. But then you've got Josh Green, the governor of Hawaii. People want answers from him. People are looking. Wouldn't you be looking to your governor, not just your mayor, but your governor for what's the next plan of action? Governors are on a state level, politically. They do answer federally to the federal government, but we still believe in states' rights. And states are, we believe in the sovereignty of each state. So people are going to look at the governor like that's their mini president. Like I said, stake presidents are like mini prophets for their stakes. They receive revelation for their stakes. Governors are like mini presidents for their stakes. For their states, STATES. So they're looking to Josh Green for some answers.
Look at Josh Green, how weak man. What happened? I came inside, what? He got to go check his beverages? What is going on? He's supposed to
Please not that. Let's not do that. This is not that kind of a meeting. It's not a political meeting or a campaign meeting. This is serious business.
But you saying that is very, that really bothers me. You're not being a waiter. You talk to your boss like that. I'm your boss.
And then we have this beautiful man who came from Vegas, when we had the mass shooting in Vegas, he was relocated by an entity and given a raise when he got to Hawaii, to Maui, given a raise, became the police chief, and took on some other positions. And I've been rereading. It takes me back to the Secret Combinations where it talks about in Helaman. Was it Helaman that we read that? Where they have to put the covert combos put their people in place so that they can operate. You got to have your people in place. You got to have people in certain positions, right? It's like sports, right? You guys got to be in certain positions on the field so that when I pass the ball, you're there. You can intercept it or block or tackle the guy, right? They got to have their people strategically in place.
He's urging people to submit DNA samples to help identify family members.
It's not just ash on your clothing when you take it off.
I notice he does this a lot. He likes to play on the emotion. He's like a politician, right? Why are you saying these things? He does this a lot. He wants to play on the camera's emotions. Like, I care. Did I tell you how much I care? Let me re-emphasize how much. It's a horrible thing that happened. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Catastrophe like this. We don't need to be reminded, Chief Pelletier, that people turn to ash when they're in a fire.
It's our loved ones. God bless you. God bless Maui.
Pelletier says his team is going to do it right versus doing it fast.
Why we want to do this right, like I said before, so that we do this the right way.
Don't question anything. Just trust that we're doing the right thing. Don't question anything. You got to have faith in us because we are public officials, and public officials do the right thing.
And so that's why we've got a process, and I need folks to trust the process as we build and go through this.
So I know we've got this House Republican, Diamond Garcia, who wants to look into the fire. But we've kind of, I'm thinking, what do they call it? A kangaroo court? Or didn't we see this with Mark Zuckerberg going in front of Congress? Did anything become of that? No. Hillary Clinton going in front of Congress. Did anything become of that? No. What else? It goes on and on. Google, Facebook, YouTube, other swamp creatures. No, because they have their friends in there. That's why we're gathering Israel, brothers and sisters. That's why we talk about these things. Look, I'm not saying that we might not turn this around, but how are we going to turn this around? By putting good people with integrity back in office. That's the only way we can do it. We have to have good. When Ezra Taft Benson and Joe Smith say that the elders of this nation, the elders of this church, are going to be the ones that turn this Constitution around, I'm thinking they have to do it maybe through political but getting into politics, getting involved, running for office, right? And good Christians of the earth. So I'm not saying that this isn't a good thing that Diamond Garcia, this House Republican from Congress, wants some insight on this. But doesn't it kind of make you all go, okay, where's this going to go? What's going to become of this? You're putting makeup on. Baby's putting makeup on behind me.
Well, the fact is people are confused. It's been 3 weeks, Jesse, and there's not been any clear answers. I mean, these people lost everything, their homes, their families, their loved ones, their children, and they're crying for answers. They need answers. And unfortunately, the response from the federal, state, and county governments has been pretty quiet. When asked what the death count was for children, the answer was, I don't know. When asking FEMA and calling FEMA for more resources, they get the voicemail. So people are frustrated here in Hawaii, and it's really sad to see this kind of federal response.
And if this is just a money issue for you guys, get out of your seat, please. Nani, you speak about talking to the people. Hold a meeting in Lahaina Civic Center or wherever they have room for, and hear the people, hear their stories, hear their heartbreak, hear their demise. You can turn that off because I'm not going to end until I end, and I'm not being disrespectful. You cannot limit the people's voice to 3 minutes. This is devastation. The people are the ones who got the donations to them. The water, the food, the clothing. Guess what? Coast Guard, FEMA trying to stop us from going in. While the people inside Lahaina is suffering. The president, come on. He couldn't even pronounce names correctly. Why was he here? A photo op or truly for the people? You folks here should be asking the people what they need. Not the representatives sitting in state legislature. The people. Local authority housing or council housing is housing you can live in that is owned by the local authority. No, it should be owned by the people. You have to apply for local authority housing. Your council will assess your needs and decide if you are high priority. Every person in Maui is a high priority right now. There is tons of land in Maui. Why move them to the Big Island? Now you stress Big Island people. Please don't make this a job. Make this your mission to get these people back on their feet.
When you lose somebody you love, a life, even a pet, that's what hurts. And a lot of people lost everything.
The morning, it was just so windy. I was in the apartment with my family, my mom, my little boy, and my brother. And then we hear all the neighbors, they was leaving already. So I turned to the left and I see the apartment complex in the corner of my street already starting burning. So, but that time I just told my mom, just grab anything right now. We gotta go right now. We gotta go. We don't have a choice.
Okay, Biden never lost his home from a lightning strike. He had a small kitchen fire that was contained in less than 20 minutes. And the fact that he went to Hawaii with almost 1,000 people missing, over 100 dead, and no one has a home anymore, and said, I lost my home too, a lie, when there was a small kitchen fire.
Compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington. It was a sunny Sunday. And lightning struck and hit a wire and came up underneath our home.
Well, it seems like the political roller coaster just took.
So here's what bothers me. This today, lots of things are bothering me about this situation, but here's the kicker right here today. What I have observed and heard and watched today about BlackRock. People are being evicted from their homes in Lahaina. It hasn't been confirmed that people are actually selling their property and their homes. Maybe some of them are because they have nowhere to go, right? Everything's been destroyed. It's a devastation. So I'm sure there are people that are selling so that they can move somewhere. And I mean, if somebody's offering you, let's say your house has been damaged, and you've got property, and here comes BlackRock offering you $100,000. And this is why the federal government is only giving people $700, so that a bigger entity can come in and offer them more money, because if the government was taking care of them, they'd probably be turning down the offers, right? So they have to be desperate for money. So the federal government, Biden's not going to help them. So BlackRock is offering money to buy up land and property. Why? Because no one is allowed in the long run to own anything, right? This is the land grab. This is sustainable development. So while these United States FEMA officials are relaxing in these $1,300 a night suites, the fire victims are finally being put up in housing, but it's not by FEMA. No. It's by Hungary. The Hungarians are helping the people of Lahaina. So do you see what's going on here? This isn't coincidence. Now, you could say, yeah, well, BlackRock and the three entities, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, they just waited for a wind, a high wind fire to take out all of these homes and displace these people. So it was convenient for them to just swoop in. Really? Okay. Maybe. But what about this entrepreneur from Boxables? This entrepreneur, CEO of the company Boxables. So he had these tiny homes for temporary help to house people. And the federal government didn't respond to his offer. He had 200 of these homes. All right, that's going to be it for now. Let me know if you liked it. Hit the thumbs up. I mean, we don't like what's going on over there, but let me know if you thought that this was informative, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Thank you.